knows how to make small businesses succeed. She shares her expert advice in her weekly columns, books, and many speaking engagements. She definitely knows how to make our businesses better. Please welcome to our program, Jane Applegate. Hey, Jane, how are you?
Nice to see you.
It's great to see you, too. Are you having fun in Seattle?
Yes.
In Redmond, I should say. We're at the Microsoft headquarters. You wish it were what?
A little bit warmer, since I'm a Vermonter now, so.
Yeah, it's been really chilly the last few days here, but warm inside the studio, and we have lots to talk about, so let's get started. You know, a lot of people say to start a business, you really need to find a need, identify a need, and then fill it.
Right. That's the first step. Find where there's a gap in the market and do your homework. I mean, so many people waste time, money, and energy looking for something to do, and they find out there's 10 companies that do the same thing. So that's the first step.
It doesn't have to be something new, though, does it?
No, it can be just a gap in the market, something that you feel passionate about.
Do it better?
Better,
more
faster,
efficient?
cheaper.
Better, faster, and cheaper.
Right.
Right, okay.
Right.
So it's very important, too, when you're getting ready to start up a new company, a small business, to know what your competition is doing. Who is your competition? How do you go about spying on what's going on out there?
Well, I think the easiest way, most effective, is to just go online. The web provides an amazing portal into everything that your competitors are doing. And I really recommend not just visiting the websites of all your competitors, but buy their products. Go out, order things if they're not edible or perishable. Order them, check them out, check the packaging, and send them back. But really delve into what they're doing and see what they're doing that you can do better.
And can you call them and see what their customer service is like as well?
Absolutely.
That'd be another great thing to do.
Yes.
So besides online, giving them a call, maybe visiting a showroom?
Yes, go out, go shopping, troll the malls, go out, go to a trade show, go to their annual meeting, get a sense of, at their professional group, if that's the world that you want to get into, because you are your business, you're going to be living and breathing this, you've got to just get out and do some streetwise marketing.
All right, so sometimes in order to get started, we have to beg, borrow, and steal. Let's talk about those three concepts.
Well, I think a lot of small business owners spend too much money on their overhead. So I recommend staying home as long as you can. You've got amazing resources at home. You can position yourself as a much larger business. You should borrow any sort of equipment that you can. But, put money where it counts. Buy, obviously, the best software and turn to people who can give you information. But to really focus on not spending money on furniture, cars, car leases, that kind of thing.
That's not going to make your business better.
No,
so
keep it lean.
You can go to eBay or Craigslist or somewhere to buy your used furniture and your used filing cabinets, and that's a great way to save money right off the top.
And even sharing office space. I mean, you can have a commercial kitchen and be baking something in the morning while someone's baking something in the afternoon. Don't put a lot of money into real estate, although there are some bargains right now.
Yeah, that's true. And maybe like if you're an accountant and you're working with a lawyer, you could, as a partner, you could share office space and work together that way. It's another great idea. So we have an instant message that came in for you, Jane. It says, does Jane recommend using a lawyer to file for a trademark, or just try to wade through all the paperwork by yourself?
Well, there's a great series of books that are published by Nolo Press, and they're really good plain English primer on legal things. But, I think you should go to an expert and have an attorney represent you. I have trademarked certain company names through the years, but I always turn it over to a skilled attorney. This is something you don't want to do yourself.
All right, so there's just some things we have to have the experts do for us.
Right.
All right. So we're talking about keeping things simple, keeping your business at home as long as you can, borrowing, stealing, no, not stealing. But borrowing and getting good deals on your office equipment.
Right.
All right, but what about employees? Can we start with people who are freelancers? You don't want to pay all the FICA and all those things. You have to. Sounds like a daunting paperwork chase.
This is actually a tremendous time to look for help, because unfortunately, as the economy softens, people are being let go, and there's lots of people looking for work. So I would recommend working through an employment agency, a temp agency. Bring in the best help you can that you can afford, but don't put them on your payroll until you absolutely are sure that's the right fit. We also use a lot of interns, freelancers, outsource as much as you can. Because once you get someone on your payroll, you are subject to state, federal, local, there's all kinds of rules and regulations, and it's tough to get rid of a bad employee.
Mm-hmm, yeah, that's true. So, and that's one of the things I've been talking about with my small business is maybe going to that next step of bringing in an employee, but I don't really know how to, the whole, you know, how do I pay somebody on time? How do I make sure, you know, just to be a small thing, but it seems like an overwhelming sort of paperwork.
Right, but one hint is you want to make sure they truly are a freelancer, make sure they have other clients, other companies they're working for, because you don't want to get in trouble with the IRS for treating a freelancer like an employee.
All right,
Here comes another question.
Yeah, here comes another question for Jane. It says, are there suggestions for nonprofit social service agencies that are required to raise their own capital? This is from Chuck. That's a tough one. Suggestions for nonprofit social service agencies required to raise their own capital. That's really not my area of
expertise.
That's when we go to the lawyer, right?
Yes. So you go to your board and say, help us raise the money.
Yeah.
Although nonprofits are businesses, and they need to, you know, adhere to the same principles that a small business does.
Right. I think a lot of people forget that nonprofits have to, you know, balance budgets, and you know, it's a whole different way of fundraising and spending your money and being accountable.
Right.
Do you have any advice for people who might want to start a nonprofit?
Well, again, you know, keep it lean. Use shared office space, and you know, try to keep your employees down to a minimum.
Mm-hmm. And when do you know you should be nonprofit versus for-profit? Because you know, sometimes there's kind of a gray area there.
Well, I mean, my expertise in the media is just, you know, with film companies, production companies. I mean, you can set it up as a nonprofit arts organization, or you can set it up as a for-profit, you know, LLC. So it really depends on the kind of outcome you want from the business.
Okay, so you say that you can spend money where it counts.
Yes.
So when does it count? Where does it count to spend money?
Well, I think the smaller you are, the more money you should allocate to your image. I think it's critical to have just an amazingly fabulous website. You can appear much bigger, have great graphics. You should have a wonderful logo, a very slick business card. I know a lot of people like to print them out at home. That I don't recommend.
Really?
Really.
Because they look so good.
I know. But
They're not good enough?
I think it's important to have a nice package of, I mean, have a designer design letterhead and then just print it out on your printer at home with a good paper stock. But image is everything. And when you're small, you want to appear as big as you can.
All right, you're going to lead us through a business makeover that you are involved in right now and advising someone. So this is a Jane Hunt, and we're going to take a look at her business and where it started and how you changed it, fixed it.
Well, it didn't need much fixing. Jane Hunt is a very talented violinist. But she's also a very smart, savvy businesswoman, and there she is. And she's quite gorgeous and amazing.
Yes, she is.
She came to me to set up a program of branding. She's working her way into becoming a spokesperson for a company. She would love to work, for instance, for Gillette, because they have a Venus brand razor, and her tagline is the violin Venus. So because of this new age of music distribution, she's offering free downloads. I mean, we're coming up with a way to get her name out. This is certainly helping to sort of position her as an up-and-coming musician and also a spokesmodel. So we're working with different people to see, you know, who she can represent. So what's important, you know, in this whole makeover is to figure out what separates you from the competition? You know, why are you special? And she came up with a whole concept of being the violin Venus. She did a portrait of herself taking off Venus on the half shell, you know, coming out of that Botticelli painting. So I think the most important thing when I work with clients, and I usually work with bigger companies, but once in a while I'll take on a small business client, is just to figure out how to separate them from the competition and to rise above it and to be creative. I mean, coming up with the idea of a credit card type thing that you can download a song from, that's great. It's a wonderful idea.
So in her case, for example, this is a person who really went after a specific target. I mean, usually if you think I want to be a spokesperson, I want to go from a violinist to a spokesperson, I'll just kind of put it out there that I do this, but she identified a specific person that she wanted to work, or an
Right,
agency or
right.
company she wanted to work for.
Right. And, you know, when she first came to me, I said, you know, it usually works the other way. I mean, large companies go after, you know, a J.Lo or Sarah Jessica Parker. We have to create a brand around Jane Hunt, the violin Venus, and then hopefully at some point we'll present her to ad agencies. So you have to take baby steps. I'm also working with another company to see if she can represent them on a smaller scale, another cosmetics company. So these sort of strategic alliances are really important to, you know, no matter what kind of business you're in. And you can just, you know, you have to be really focused and driven, and especially in the music business. I mean, she has an agent and a manager, but she's getting more gigs by calling people and saying, you know, book me, book me, book me.
Right, right. Well, there's a beautiful ad. She looks very appealing.
Yes, she
You
does.
should think of a violinist in the long black gown, you know, sitting in the orchestra. But
Right,
yeah,
right.
she definitely stands out of the crowd.
Right.
And that's the whole idea. So when you go in to make over a corporation, what kinds of things do your clients look for from you?
Well, on larger companies, I'm usually remodeling their marketing plans. But the main, the basis of my small business makeover is to, basically in three parts. Ask yourself, you know, where are you? Where are your goals? Where do you want to go? Then you sit down and you talk to your employees and figure out how they can support you and help you. And it's a really team effort when you're running a business. And the third aspect is dealing with your constituents, your clients, your customers, and your vendors. So it's sort of a three-part process, and it's something that everyone needs to do every few months, like give yourself a makeover.
Every few months, that often, huh? Okay,
Yeah.
Jane, we have another question for you from an instant message. So what are the least expensive ways of advertising your new business? This is a great question.
Well, I think email newsletters are really effective. I mean, the opt-in kind, you don't want to be ending up in the spam basket. Starting out with your core mailing list and then putting in an offer every month or so, I think that kind of thing is really effective. You know, newspaper, radio, television advertising is pretty pricey, although you can negotiate. Rates are going down.
Right, and there are times of the year it's better to buy, too.
Yes,
So.
yes.
Jane Applegate, thank you. Always great advice, and continued great success to you.
Thanks
for being here.
It's great to
at
be
the
here.
Microsoft Small Business Summit. If you'd like more information on this, just log on to sbsummit.com/guest.